Let's call to order the June 27, 2013 City of Hammond Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. Roll call. Here. Agenda item 4, approval of the minutes of the meetings of June 13th and June 20th.
I'd like to make a motion that we defer the minutes. Nobody's reviewed them.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Item 5A, bid openings for the 6th District Street Improvement Project on California Avenue.
We have 7 bids. The first bid is from Walsh & Kelly Incorporated, 1700 East Main Street, Griffith, Indiana. They have their bid bond. They have their Form 96 filled out. And they have their non-inclusion affidavit signed. Their bid is $1,198,364.25. Next bid is from Goff Incorporated, 2200 East 88 Drive, Maryville, Indiana. They have their Form 96. They have their non-inclusion affidavit signed, and they have their bid bond. Their bid is $1,305,444.12. Next bid is from Gary Up Construction Company Incorporated, 3965 Harrison Street, Gary, Indiana. You have your bid bond. You have your Form 96. You have your non-inclusion affidavit signed. Their bid is $1,326,000. Next bid is from Grimmer Construction Company Incorporated, 2619 Main Street, Highland, Indiana. You have your bid bond. You have your Form 96. And you have your non-inclusion affidavit signed. Their bid is $1,212,993.10. Next bid is Hansey Construction Company Incorporated, Lincoln and Plummer Avenue, P.O. Box 300, Calumet City, Illinois. You have your bid bond. You have your Form 96 filled out. And you have their non-inclusion affidavit signed. Their bid is $1,181,730.64. Next bid is from Reith Riley Construction Company Incorporated, 7500 West 5th Avenue, Gary, Indiana. bid bonds. You have your Form 96 filled out. And you have your non-inclusion affidavit signed. Their bid is $1,216,695. Final bid is from Rex Construction Company Incorporated, 700 Schiller Avenue, Cherville, Indiana. Form 96, they have their non-inclusion affidavit. They have their bid bond. Their bid is $1,198,532.05. I'd like to make a motion that these be referred to the consultant engineer for tabulation and recommendation.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Item B, we have a request for advertising dates of July 4th and July 11th for street and sidewalk improvements on Willard Road.
Motion that we set the date.
All in favor? Aye. Item C, we have a change order on the Indiana State Road Construction Project at Columbia Avenue from Michigan to Chicago.
The amount is $51,130.81 to relocate a water main. The project's 80% federal. Our share will be $10,226.16. So I recommend that we approve the change order.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Item D, we have a correspondence from Nice Engineering regarding alley drainage and some bids that we received for the same.
Yeah, we received 3 proposals last week. They were all greatly in excess of the engineer's estimate. The engineer's estimate was $60,900. The lowest was $60,000. We're gonna take another look at those and seek proposals at a future date. So the recommendation is to throw the bids out.
It's a motion to reject the bids on the project. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Item E, we have correspondence from Chief Miller requesting permission for a parade route through the city, as well as several disposal authorizations for city assets.
Make the motion that we accept Chief Miller's request.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item F, we have a request from Ms. Kuo requesting a continuance of her hearing due to a death in her family.
Mr. President, those are going to be addressed at the, those are 2 properties that are listed on the demolition in item G that we could probably address when those come up
All right, let's
in the regular order of business under item G.
defer those to the next agenda item then. Item G, demolition hearings.
Good morning, Mr. President and the board. We obviously have a large number of demolitions. I would just indicate that there were several properties that do not appear on the agenda, and so I would just ask anybody who's here for a property that they don't hear called, most likely it was continued or deferred, and you can check up here after we get through the list, and we'll let you know the new date. So if you do not hear your property called, that's probably what happened to it.
$5502 Alice.
Mr. President, this actually, we received a request for a continuance from Justin Murphy, who just got involved in this, and we've agreed to continue it to September 26th.
Is there a motion to continue to September 26th?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 5506 Alice.
5506 Alice, no one appears. Proper service have been given. We'd ask that the demolition order be affirmed as proposed.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 935 Ames.
935 Ames.
Please come forward.
Could you state your name and address, please?
My name is Jacob Schoenfeld. The address is 935 Ames Street.
Mr. President, we have provided proper service. The building department's preference on this is to have it knocked down. I can show you if I could approach.
You don't actually live at 935 Ames.
No, I don't.
What's your
Not
interest in
currently.
the property?
What's that? I purchased the property last year from Mom Haven LLC through a advertisement online through a realty company.
Okay.
And I have full intentions on repairing the structure. I do have all of the necessary items to do so. Just the building department's cooperation has not been there.
Could you, sir, identify this photo as as a true and accurate
That is
representation
correct.
of how the property looks currently?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And that, Mr. President, is the front photo there with the big spray painted sold sign on the front.
How long have you had the property, sir?
I bought it in April of last year.
A year and a half almost, or a year and a couple months?
Pretty close to that. I got the contracts. I went to the building department to get the building permits necessary. My contract wasn't recorded with the county currently, and so they denied the request for the permit. And then I had to pretty much battle my way to get the realty company that was the mediator involved, which was Vision Property Management out of South Carolina, to fill out the proper paperwork to get that contract recorded. I finally ended up getting that in November and got the contract recorded. The building,
Bottom line is you've had the house since April of 12.
yeah,
15, almost 15 months.
yeah.
Have you done anything to it?
No, the building department has not granted me a building permit, and I've tried. And when I went back after getting it, the the contract recorded with the county, as they said they needed it done, they told me that the building inspector had to inspect the property.
I
before
understand
allowing.
that part.
So,
I understand that part of not being able to get inside and do anything, but how about the outside where all that garbage is around the garage? You haven't even cleaned that stuff up in 15 months.
they told me not to go over there and do anything to it. That's exactly what I was
Who
told
said
by the
that?
building department.
If you own the
Her
property,
name
I
was
think you can go
Danielle
on.
in the building department. She's a blonde-haired lady that works in there. She told me absolutely not, because that's what we were originally trying to do, was clean it up and get it at least
Mr. President,
dealt with. They told me not to even go over there and sweep the floor.
Mr. President, I
that-
find this very hard to believe. There's an Indiana statute, it's called the Good Samaritan Law, which lets a person who is other than the property owner even clean up or cut the grass on a property in order to maintain the neighborhood. So in light of that, there's no way the building department would have told him to leave an enormous pile of trash in the driveway and stumps from an old tree in the backyard.
Well, especially if he's the owner. It's not even a situation where you'd have a Good Samaritan law taking place. And the other issue, is this place vacant? Is anyone living there?
It is currently vacant.
And it has been for a year and a half?
I do intend to fix it. I do intend to make that my home. That's why I bought the place. I didn't buy it to turn around and have it demolished and be met by a stone wall. I mean, that's how it feels like it's going, is I'm getting stonewalled from every different direction. And
Mr. President, the water indicates that the water has been off since 2008. Have you had the water on since you've owned it?
no, I have to get Bob, or whatever his name, I believe it was Bob, to inspect the place, to allow me to do any work on the place, and then
With the building department to find out what needs to be done. Do you have anything else you want to present, sir?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
Make the motion to affirm the order.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Get permit.
10:04.
In order to be affirmed as presented, proper service hasn't been given.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 4 Locust.
For Locust, Mr. President, nobody appears. We'd ask that the demolition order be affirmed as presented.
So move.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 7419 Madison.
7419 Madison, no one appears. We'd ask the demolition order be affirmed as presented.
Second. So move.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 7423 Madison.
7423 Madison. This This is actually next door to the 7419 address.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Your name, sir?
Nicholas Wolchecki.
Are you the owner, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is the home vacant?
No, sir. I live there.
You live there?
Me
Okay.
and my family live there, upstairs and downstairs.
Our biggest concern was a blue tarp on the roof.
That's not my house. That's the next.
I'm sorry, you're right. I'm looking at the wrong notes. Hold on. 7423.
Here's mine, 7420, 7423.
If I could just present the board with photos.
This,
There's no reason you should be here, is there?
no.
Okay,
On both sides of me is the demos, really.
okay. Let's, for the record, is there a motion to dismiss any action on 7423 Madison?
There is, by the city.
I will make that motion and we dismiss it.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank
Sorry for the
you.
inconvenience.
Sorry for the mix-up, sir. 7449 Parish.
7449 Parish. Mr. President, given the condition of the property, the city is, and no one appears, we'd ask for an order to repair be entered as presented.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 855 Sibley.
855 Sibley. Nobody appears, we'd ask, oh, I'm sorry, sir. This is another fire property around the April date. We're not sure about the status of insurance, and we would ask that the order
The
be.
one, is that the house next to Elmira's Bakery?
Yes.
There was 2 fires in there, Kelly, am I correct? Once before and recently?
Before it was on fire, we're inside and the interior was gutted.
There was another fire?
2 fires, there was never any, no work done between the 2 to repair.
Yeah, I'm here for my brother.
Go ahead, state your name and address, sir.
My name is Dietrich Ross. My address is 4621 Torrance Avenue.
In Hammond?
Yes,
And your brother is Mr. Blakely?
yes,
He's the owner of the property?
yes.
He's also lives at 4621 Torrance?
Well, actually, he lives in South Bend. He was on his way, but he had car problems.
Okay. What's the status of the repairs after the fire?
He purchased it at a tax sale, and he didn't get the deed back until after the fire happened. So he wasn't able to get any insurance. He said he tried to get insurance, but they told him if no one was living there, he couldn't get insurance.
What's his intention with the property?
Right now, he's trying to get rid of it.
Mr. President, given that representation that Mr. Blakely is attempting to dispose of the property, I don't see any reason not to proceed with an order affirming the order. And if Mr. Blakely would like to get a hold of the building department, he can do that during the interim while we attempt to bid it out.
Make the motion that we affirm the order.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, and that number is?
1169 Sibley.
Okay, thank you.
1169 Sibley. Mr. President, this is a boarded-up frame house. The entire rear is actually plywood, missing softened fascia. The siding is off. There's garbage in the yard, at least there was last time the building department checked, and the fence has collapsed. I will present photos to the board. There is a person here, if she could identify herself for the record.
My name is Sylvia McDaniel. I live at 17052 Lawrence Avenue in Lansing, Illinois.
Could you say that again, ma'am? I'm sorry.
Yes, it's Sylvia McDaniel, and I live at 1052 Lawrence Avenue in Lansing, Illinois.
Are you the owner of the property, ma'am?
Yes, I am.
And you own it with Daryl McDaniel, is that your
Yes.
husband?
Yes, it is.
Does he also live at the Lorenz Avenue
Yes, he
address?
does.
Okay, and you did receive notice of this hearing?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
We had moved out of there because my health was ailing me, so because of the condition of the house. We had every attempt to fix the house when we moved out, but something happened to us as a family that threw us into a loop. That was in 2011. And we are trying now to take everything out of the home because when we moved out, we just took what we had on our backs. What I'm asking permission for is to be able to take the things out of the home, which I have been doing.
It's your house, you can take anything out of there you want, right?
Yes, but if you demolish it, I won't have time
How much time do you need?
to at least July 15th.
It won't be demolished till after that. So you have
Okay.
no objection to the order being entered to demolish it, you just want time to get your stuff out?
Yes, the only thing is the bank would like the house back. I don't know how we could work everything out with the bank.
That's up, the bank got notice, ma'am.
Okay,
So it's
so-
up to them to contact us.
Okay.
And if they do, they do. If they don't, they'll have a vacant lot that they can deal with.
Okay,
All right, so you don't have an objection then?
no,
All right, you'll have more than enough time to get your stuff out if you need July 15th.
okay.
Mr. President, we'd ask the
Make
order
a
be
motion,
entered.
we affirm the order.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 5415 Tell.
5415 Tell, no one appears. We'd ask the order be entered or affirmed as presented.
I'll make the motion, we affirm the order.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. 845 Truman.
845 Truman, no one appears. We'd ask the order be affirmed as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. 5554 Walter.
To the House Garage, 5554 Walter. Mr. President, the evidence that the city would present on this property is the water has been off since May 6th of 2011. We believe that this did go up on tax sale. Additionally, the issue with the garage is that it's got a failed roof and it is a boarded up, framed up house. Both the garage and home are boarded up at last photograph, which would have been about 2 weeks ago. We would ask that the order be affirmed. I will present the board with photos of the address that were taken by the building department. Ma'am, if you could just state your name
Irene Botello,
and your address.
5525 Claude.
55, what was that?
5525 Claude.
Okay, and what is your interest in the property?
I purchased the house on April 23rd at the tax sale. I'll be getting the deed, I think, in
April of what year? Oh, this year?
this year.
What's your intention if you get the deed to the property?
Living in it.
So it's your intention to rehab the property?
Yes. To fix it up and live in
We've only
it.
had it for a couple months.
Yeah.
We'd ask that, given the representation of the tax sale purchaser, we would ask that this matter be continued to September for status. Do you have an attorney?
Yes, I do.
Who is it?
David Bratt.
Dave Bratz, he's working on the tax deed stuff
Yeah.
with you? Okay.
Well, we don't get the title till October 6th.
October 6th or 3rd or whatever that hearing date is? Okay. You know what, we don't have a later than a September date yet, so what we'll do is we will notify the board and these folks of the date that's after September to check status.
I'll make the motion.
There's a grass.
Oh, so we would have to maintain it.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine.
And you have the ability to do so.
Oh,
You just
okay.
can't, you just can't go inside.
Okay. Okay.
The motion that we continue to a later date.
Would we be able to secure it more better?
Yeah.
Motion to all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. 5606 Walter.
5659 Walter.
5606 Walter.
I'm sorry, 5606 Walter. This is a house and garage. Mr. President, the information that the city would present is that at 5606 Walter, the water has been off since January 12th of 2012. It's a boarded up frame house with no stairs. The siding is failing, there's peeling paint, and the garage is deteriorating with a bad roof in the rear. I will present the board with photos on this property. Sir, if you could please state your name, your address, and your interest in the property.
My name is Michael Wiersma. I am the owner of the property. I live at 2705 Cleveland Street here in Hammond. My intentions are to fix up the current problems with the property. The back door was kicked in and there's a door on there, but the front door is not boarded up anymore. And there's every indication that I should be able to get that livable in a very short period of time. I am currently fighting the state of Indiana for my disability payments to get a good amount of money here. I have my contractor here that has been with me to look through it. Water supply is good, electric supply is good. The kitchen is nasty but just needs a coat of paint and can clean up the tile. The place should be livable, I would think, by the September 26th meeting coming up
Sir,
there.
how long have you owned the property?
I've owned it since February of last year.
Of 12? All right,
Correct.
now you would confirm that the water has not been on since that
The
time?
water's not been on.
Okay, and what's the name of your contractor that's here?
I'm just, my name's Lakeview Construction.
What is it?
Lakeview Construction.
Lakeview? Where's Lakeview Construction
It's in
located?
Chicago.
Are you licensed in the city of Hammond?
No, I gotta get a license here for it, but I'm just doing him.
Sir, you understand that you need to get a licensed
Yes, I do.
contractor if you're gonna do any work? You understand that, right?
Sir.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. We need an inspection of the property to determine whether or not, Wiersma can repair the property. So what we would ask, Mr. President, is to enter the order of demolition. We'll hold off on issuing any permits until after the September 26th date, and during that time, we would ask Mr. Wiersma to contact the building department for an inspection.
Make the motion that we affirm that.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 5659, Walter.
All right, inspection, how much is
As soon as
it?
possible, $150.
All right.
5659, Walter. No one appears. Mr. President, we would request that the order be entered as presented.
Make a motion to affirm that.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 6633, Alexander.
And Mr. President, just for reference, these are matters.
Was not keeping up the yard, and I was around, but I was not, I had to do my own upkeep on my own house, remodeling and stuff like that I was doing. I was unaware of entirely the whole situation that was going on there at my mother and father's house. When it was brought to my attention, my mother actually had been putting the money aside to get the funds to get the thing started. The siding is back on the house. There is 2 pieces that do need to be replaced, but the siding is back on the house. The yard has been cut. The only reason why the backyard behind the alley wasn't cut, sir, and that is my fault, I was there, somebody stole my lawnmower. I ran out of spool with my weed whip when I went back there to do it, and I had debris back there from unloading the debris that's in the house. There is debris back there now. I actually had already called and spoke to the city, and they're supposed to be bringing a truck to come and take the debris out of the backyard. But the gentleman did cut around.
We're not going to the backyard.
No, not in, it's behind the, it's in the alley. It's behind the gate in the alley. And that's where they told me to put it, and the city would come and remove it, and I have an order for them to remove it.
Mentioned that as part of Judge Harkin as far as the citations, the demolition and the condition of the property, 2 different things. We're handling the property. If they don't maintain the property, we're gonna contract with lawn care service, come out and do the cut and clean whatever needs to be cleaned.
I have pictures of the yard, sir.
What's the
It's clean.
request for relief by
It's
the
clean.
city?
First thing needs to be done is demolition inspection.
This is a hearing on the demolition of the property.
Correct.
So what's the request for relief related to the demolition of the property by the city?
Needs to be inspected. And permits need to be pulled for the work.
The request for relief by the city of Hammond is that a demolition inspection occur.
We would request 30 days from to pull the permits and get the inspection. Just, if we can just have the 30 days. We've got somebody actively involved in this now, and given the health issues that.
Yes, I have pictures of the
Okay,
kitchen
hold
too.
on.
I've redone the kitchen, sir, and everything.
But
It's the same as any
you
other
have to
case.
pull the permits.
It's vacant or occupied by whoever, the demolition.
Mr. McMahon, you understand that before work begins on the property, you have to pull the appropriate permits with the city in order to
Okay, no,
start that
honestly,
work.
sir, I'm not aware of any of this. This is all brand new to me, sir. With my father being ill and me having to take on this responsibility, I am 30 years old, but I've never had to do anything like this before. I don't know the city's laws, anything like that, I don't know. I know when you're doing interior work on a house, you don't need certain permits to do drywalling and painting and stuff like that.
That's not correct. I'll give him my card, he can call me or Mr. Cook, and we can guide him through anything that needs to be done. Wall, ceiling, roof repairs, will need a permit because it needs to be inspected to be sure it's
I would suggest that, Mr. McMahon, you engage the building department in getting a demolition inspection. At that point, they'll let you know what work needs to be completed and what work will need permits for you to complete and what work won't need permits.
Okay, if you guys could please give me that time, I would greatly appreciate that. Like I said, I just got thrown underneath a steamroller with this situation. My father having a heart attack and not being able to do anything for the family. I had to take on his head of household man of responsibility to take on his responsibilities that he cannot.
Mr. McMahon, do you believe that you'll be able to obtain that demolition inspection and have the repairs completed in 90 days?
I do believe so, yes, sir.
Request the order be entered, but we'll hold off on permits until September 26, 2013.
Wait,
Hold on.
Unless there's-
Mr. Callahan. I make the motion that we affirm the demo, and you need to get a hold of the building department.
I request that we have 30 days before you enter that order.
You're going to have 90 days before permits for
I-
demolition are entered to begin the demolition is what the motion is.
But then we're working uphill against the demolition order at that point in time. I think we can avoid entering the demolition order if we can make the progress that the city's requesting.
I mean, anything that you guys
motion.
need,
I'm gonna
I
second
I
the
would be
motion.
more than willing, anything.
There's been a motion to affirm the demolition not to commence any prior than the September deadline, and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
4117 Cameron.
And how do I go about doing it?
4117 Cameron, Mr. Krasinski's here on behalf of the bank. They were going to let us know if the bank was going to make repairs, and I don't believe there's been an inspection done yet.
Unfortunately, the bank's in the position, the judgment, we're not handling the foreclosure in this case, we're just here for this. I know the judgment of foreclosure was just entered. We're still 3 months away from a sheriff's sale date, and that's when the bank is finally the owner. They can finally determine exactly how they're going to process the property. I would ask just for another continuance of this to give them some more time.
Yeah, the order's already been entered. What we're going to do probably between now and then is bid it out. We won't issue any permits until September 26th.
Make the motion, we affirm the order.
Been affirmed.
It's already been affirmed. It's okay. It's just for status.
Okay.
6735 Carolina.
6735 Carolina, we actually received a fax from Attorney Moratides regarding Joseph Stewart, who's the owner, indicating that they'd like to donate it to Habitat for Humanity, I think. The only issue that I believe we have is we've also had contact from Oakland Loan Servicing or Oxland Loan Servicing. Oakland, indicating that there's a mortgage on the property. So I'm not sure how a donation is going to occur when there's a mortgage. It would be our request that the order be entered affirming the demolition. This was up before in April.
Yes, it was. We've gotten the continuance before, and I had requested a continuance
name,
again. Kimberly Mortitis.
Oh.
We had been in contact with Habitat for Humanity, and as you probably are familiar with, it's a long process getting it approved to be donated to them. They had their home inspector out 2 days ago. He has expressed interest in the property. They would like to get it donated, but it is going to take some time because we are going to have to buy a title. So whether it's going to go back to Ocwen when we take it to court, or if Joe Stewart's going to get it, we're not sure how that's going to turn out. That's up to the court, and if anybody appears for Ocwen.
Have you filed a quiet title yet?
No, that's, we're going to do that.
Moratides, what is the timeline you believe
There's several properties.
would be necessary in order to complete the quiet title and the transfer to occur?
I'm sorry, could you say that a little louder?
I asked, what is the timeline you believe for the quiet title action and the transfer to occur?
I had planned on filing quiet title probably next week, or the week after with the holiday. So I would imagine we'd get a hearing date within a month of that.
If anybody answers the complaint, then they have the ability to answer. I would say if someone answers, you're looking at 6 months at least at a summary judgment hearing. So,
What's the condition of the house right now?
He has been keeping up with the property since he's been getting the ordinance violations. I informed him he needed to keep the grass cut and keep the outside looking nice for everyone. I think that might be the one property where the windows are boarded up. You have some-
it does appear secure. I can present these photos to the board. President, our request by the city would be that because we already gave the owner a continuance once from April, there's been no change since that date, that the order be entered. We'd be happy to stay any permits till after the September 26th date. Attorney Morititis knows how to get a hold of us. Be happy to allow her to keep us updated on the quiet title action, but I see no reason not to enter the order.
Make a motion that we affirm the order.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
222 to 24 Carroll.
And we can take this in conjunction with the next two on Clay, 1903 Clay and 1909 Clay. Mr. Gutierrez is the owner of all three of these properties, and he is represented by Attorney Sue Severson, who is unable to appear today due to a prior engagement in court in Crown Point. It's my understanding from Ms. Severson that Mr. Gutierrez is not contesting the 222-24 Carroll Street, but would like some time on 1903 and 1909 Clay, to which his attorney has no objection to the order being entered, but that permits not be allowed until November 1st. He's got a tax sale hearing on October 6th with her. So what we would ask is that 1903 and 1909 Clay, the orders be entered and affirmed as presented, with the November 1st stay date to issue permits. 222-24 Carroll, I just want to make sure Mr. Gutierrez does not have an objection to us to proceed to bid on that property.
No, I don't.
So the only action by the board, I'd ask that the orders be affirmed with a stay date of November 1st on 1903 Clay and 1909 Clay.
Make a motion that we affirm the order.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. 4908 Columbia.
4908 Columbia. Mr. President, nobody appears. Bank of America did call and indicated that they were going to do an inspection before June 27th. That has not occurred. We request that the order be entered and affirmed as presented.
I'll make the motion that we affirm the order.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 423 Florence.
Did you have 1846 Davis on your list, Mr.
I
President?
did. Sorry.
That is a continuance
1846 Davis.
Continuance to final status for September 26, 2013, per our agreement with Attorney Benasiak.
For Florence?
No, that's for Davis. 423 Florence, Ms. Murphy is here. She is the owner of the property. There was an inspection performed on March 4th. I can tell you that the results of that inspection are that it is going to be a substantial cost to Ms. Murphy if she'd like to repair it. The building department does not believe that it's worth Ms. Murphy's time or effort to do so, and there has been no progress on the repairs because we do not have any record of permits being pulled. We would request that the order of demolition be affirmed and entered.
I just want to question. If you, okay, we've come to the realization that they're going to demo the property because the amount of money they want us to spend and the time frame, we cannot do it. We need to know is that are we going to be responsible to pay for demolition?
Mr. President, I can tell you that the city's position is that a lien will be entered on the property for the cost of demolition, so that Ms. Murphy, if you ever sell the property, that lien would have to be taken care of.
How are you going to sell something that ain't there? This is where we're at with
land.
this.
You can sell
okay,
land,
look,
actually.
we purchased this thing in a tax sale.
When?
Already there was a demolition going on. We came here, we pulled the paper from downstairs. They never told us it was on demolition. The title thing went through everything. I don't understand how they could give us a title on something that they're already tearing down.
It's called caveat emptor, buyer beware, and it is told by this county to every buyer at any tax sale. Look, we're not warranting the condition of the property. We're not warranting if the building's even there.
Is it your testimony, Ms. Murphy, then, that you're not going to complete the orders to repair the property?
Yes.
Based on the testimony of Ms. Murphy, is there a motion by the board?
I'll make a motion to affirm it.
But I still need to know what can we do to not be able to be responsible for tearing this property down.
You own
already invested money in everything, and now you just...
Ms. Murphy, you own the property. You're responsible for the property. So you can either tear it down or the city will tear it down and then place a lien on the property.
So we can tear it down ourselves.
Yes. Is there?
Okay.
You'll have 6 to 8 weeks, probably at least.
I'm sure. Anything you guys do.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye. Motion passes. 1956 Hayman.
This is going to be continued to September 26th. The rehab is almost complete. It's just awaiting final inspection.
Yep. Actually, I just want to mention one thing. As far as we're having issues with the water department, it's a whole mess back there in the water gardens, and they got the buffalo boxes and stuff like that. I have two lines that run through my property that are from other houses that tap into the main. Well, one of those lines took over my existing Buffalo box because it was a 2-on-1, and they took that service line. And I mean, as far as my understanding goes, if I have to have a Buffalo box, the city should provide a service line to the Buffalo box. I should provide one from my house to the Buffalo box. Well, they're saying that I have to put in a service line, dig up the alley, shut it down, call NIPSCO, and do all this other stuff. And that's why we had the hold up for what we have. Otherwise, we would be done. And I was wondering if there was any way or any help you guys can provide.
Have you had water out there yet? Has
No,
water department out there?
that's the reason why. They
You know
can't,
what, when you call for final inspection with Kurt, just request that water come out with them.
because
so that you
they've
guys-
actually came out and they've done the lines and everything else, and I've had blue paint all over my lawn because of the different lines that came in there, because I'm on a corner where the alley's at, and what they pretty much said is you're gonna have to dig it up, do this, do this, do this, and I'm like, well, that makes no sense. If we're putting in a secondary stop, they should provide the city to that secondary stop, and then I should provide the rest of it, instead of going all the way to the main. And so that's why we're having a hold up, and I'm supposed to be meeting with Stan Zatorsky and hopefully try to go further with that, but that's why we've had
We're
somewhat of a...
continuing this, is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, it's basically, the rehab's done. And just for the record, could you state your name?
Bobby Elliott, 1528 Parkview.
Just up for status on September 26th. We'll let the building commissioner know that the issues you have with water, so he knows at final inspection to make sure he coordinates with water.
Final status on September 26th then.
Cool. All right, thanks.
6320 Harrison.
Yes, this is, Mr. President, you may recall on item F on the agenda, Allison Cole wrote the letter regarding death in the family. She is represented by Mr. Golding. Our request is to enter the order with permits being held up to September 26, 2013.
Motion to continue it to then?
Is there any further discussion? Continue it, or do you want to affirm the demolition?
Mr. President, just for clarification, we'd ask, I didn't hear I don't know if I heard the motion correctly. The city's position would be that we'd like the order be affirmed and entered with the stay date of September 26th.
I'd like to rescind my first motion and make another one that we affirm the order.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Aye. 1020 Highland.
1020 Highland. Good morning, Mr. Sachs is here. He has requested a continuance. He sent a fax in late yesterday to Ms. Cantar. Our concern here is that the garage is in absolute terrible shape, and there were some issues with some deceased animals in the basement at the last inspection. There was an inspection on May 21st, 2013 by Mr. Cook.
You know, if I may, after the inspection, my client retained a licensed construction company, licensed in Hammond. They have submitted applications for permits. We went through with Mr. Cook. He discussed it. The contractor was there at the time, and he submitted applications for permits. He had an architect do drawings. I guess